Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to part 2 of the Grand Duke video. In part 1, which I really hope you looked at because it shows into a bit of detail just how good this aircraft is. So in part 1, we covered external looks, internal looks, cockpit functionality, options of the laptop, stroke iPad, stroke whatever you want to call it, and the general aircraft and general feelings I have for this particular aircraft because it is a good one. You join us currently sat at our favourite place, RAF Waddington. And in part 2, we are actually going to fly this aircraft. So I've been clicking all sorts of buttons in the first video, so I'm hoping that everything still works as it should. Just checking that my controls actually work. Yes, that's always a good idea because sometimes they don't always work. Right, so today's flight, we're going to be flying out of RAF Waddington here, and we're going to be flying up to Humberside Airport. Fairly local flight for us, we've done it before. And we'll be hopefully starting up this aircraft very shortly. And I'm not going to fly this aircraft to the book. I'm just going to fly it like I fly it, which is probably terrible. So let's first of all check fuel tanks are set on. That's good. It's always the thing I usually forget because they're usually buried right down there. So let's remove control locks. We don't need those anymore. Always good sound effects in a black square aircraft. Right, so let's turn TrackIR on. I just tried doing this video, and TrackIR had a hissy fit, as it usually does. Right, so let's have battery on. Shut this off for the time being, and we'll have beacon lights, just the beacon lights on. Turn them back on. Right, I've got to try and recall just how it is I fly this aircraft, or more to the point, how I start this aircraft. So we will set, come on. So, okay, we need 30 seconds on the cooler, so we'll turn the mast on while we're at it as well. We would be talking to air traffic. All sorts of lovely sounds in this aircraft. So, go for the left cooler first, pre-cooler. And you normally give it between 25 seconds to 30 seconds. Preheating, is it pre-oiling of the engine, I should say, not. Another wonderful thing, you can actually tap the dials. I don't know if you can do, no, you can do it on this one as well. Yeah, so you can tap the dials to make them respond. It is an old aircraft, remember that. Right. So, coming up on 30 seconds, right, okay, so let's turn that off, turn that. That said, right, so we're going to do the left engine start first, so fuel is going to go on. Mag set to both. Parking brake set. Throttle cracked open. Clear pop. Hopefully we will be ready to go. Let's go. He says, so full of confidence. What did I forget? Fuel system is on, generator does not come on. Mixture was up. This is the point where I know we forget stuff. Mags are definitely set over, batteries on. So it's got fuel, hasn't it? Yeah, set to the left and right. Aha! I think it was just the fact. Let's shut this up a little bit. I think it was just the fact it's one of those aircraft that's a little bit temperamental, sort of like the A2A aircraft. So fuel pump coming on, generator coming on. Set to main inverter, and we shall now do pre-oiling for the right engine. Helps you press that twice. Or set nav up when we get burning up. So, coming up on 30 seconds. Re-oiling off. That's off. That's on that. So, fuel pump is set to on. Mag set to both. Generator is off. Lights are, I think, correct. They're clear on the right. And yet again, we have an engine that doesn't want to start. What am I doing wrong? Oh, we nearly had a go. We nearly had a go. These are realistic aircraft, all right. Hey! Have we got a good start? We have a good start. It's amazing. Crowd goes wild. Fuel pump's off. Generator is on. Lights are all out. Pre-oiling is set to off. Pull back the mixture a touch. So that is all correct. So let's zoom in. Let's zoom. Stop clicking on things. Zoom into that. So we flight plan. Let's get rid of remove. We don't want that. I don't know why it selects that one, but it does. Echo Golf X-ray Wilco. Destination is, and I've forgotten it already. Echo Golf, obviously. November Juliet Humberside. Don't want a waypoint. Back map. What are we going to set? So that's set up our direct route. We don't need Waddington so zoomed in. We do know Waddington quite well now. Flight plan we'll leave onto that. Transponder we will be squawking 7,000, so we'll set that to on. We'll squawk altitude when we get to the runway. I'm just trying to run through in my mind what I've forgotten, because this aircraft is one of those aircraft. Pitch trim will turn on now. Pitot heats don't need, not yet. We'll have out the recognition lights are set to on. Nav light is set to on. Wing don't need. Tax light will come on in a minute. Let's do a flap check. Wrong button. That button will do nicely. So flaps down to approach. And set. Why I keep pressing that. So flaps are set to approach. I can't quite see on the right side, but you would have a co-pilot, so he would say. So flaps going down in transit. Flaps set to down. Confirmed on the left side. I'm going to say confirmed on the right side. Flaps in transit. Flaps set to approach. And flaps are up. We'll set that to auto heat. So T's and P's are good for an aircraft that's just started. Let's set that as the auto call. We're not going to be doing a flat takeoff. Runway's plenty long enough here. Set the shortcut for the altimeter. That was set. Set the shortcut for that. Set. Right, so now we're going to set for... We'll set for 4,000, but I don't think we're going to be using the autopilot too much, if I'm honest. So, everything looks good. I've just got a little bit of clipping because I've just zoomed the view out a little bit, so let's pull that back. Still got a bit of clipping, but not too bad. So we're clear on the left side, clear on the right side, and we shall now have taxi lights are set to on. Coming off the brakes, let's go. It's what I love about flight simulator aircraft is the sounds. I always say looks are good. Looks are quite important. Sound is extremely important. If you're copying a particular aircraft, then you do want to have it copied quite well. And Black Square have done an absolutely fantastic job. So we're not going to do a run-up as we normally would. I want to get this light sorted. I do like the fact the aircraft bounces as well. You know, the concrete is never smooth, completely smooth, and it's bouncing around quite realistically. So, sit there on the brakes. So, we'll have taxi lights off, landing lights are coming on. Strobe lights and nav lights are on. Fuel pumps are set to on. Pitot heat is set to on. Mixture is full. Prop pitch is full. I believe we're ready to rock and roll. So, let's go. Altimeter, altitude. Level up. Flash checks. Let's go. Airspeed's alive. There's 80. Rotate. engines down a little bit. We'll start a right-hand turn. Airborne in the Duke. So we shall... don't need the landing lights. And now we're airborne. I shall see you somewhere along the flight. Won't take too long to get out to Humberside. But I shall spare you the boring flight direct from Waddington to Humberside. And I shall see you in a, well, in a few seconds for you. Now, welcome back to the flight, mighty flight, long distance, super duper flight from RAF Waddington in Lincolnshire to Humberside International Airport. So, what do we think about the Duke? The Duke is a fantastic twin-engined aircraft, and in Flight Simulator, Black Square Simulations have knocked it out of the ballpark. This thing is amazing. Every single part of this aircraft is amazing. Sounds, external looks, internal looks, functionality, options, because we don't always have to have the GTN 750 here. We can go and put the more classic setup into the aircraft. All the buttons and levers and all the stuff that confuse the heck out of me all work. It is a great package. Like I said at the start, you have the choice of this particular aircraft, the Grand Duke, which is piston powered. We have the normal Duke, which is still piston powered but a little bit smaller, I believe. And then we have the Turbo Duke, which is replacing the piston powered engines with turboprops. Now, I haven't got much hours on any of these aircraft. This will be the second flight from a location to a different location that I've actually flown in the Duke. And so far it's amazing. I will be doing a video on the Turbo Duke, probably not concentrating too much on the cockpit functionality, although some things will change in that aircraft over this one. But so far, autopilot is set, and the aircraft is behaving itself, flying itself all the way. It's pretty much straight, direct to route. We will change just before we get to Humberside and obviously veer off and go on to our approach for runway 20. The only problem I have at the moment, and it's not the aircraft's fault, it's my sim. I have a G1000 unit sat in front of me, and for some reason it's managed to get a little bit confused. So I said in the start of this video, my G1000 will activate the autopilot controls and allow me to change things, whereas at the moment I have to use this Sentry 4 unit down here. At the moment it won't. The software that the G1000 is using has got confused and has now gone and, well, it's gone home. So at the moment we don't have that functionality, but that's not the aircraft's fault. It's just a little bit of confusion with the file, the application. But other than that, it's a fairly simple system. I mean, we have an autopilot on, we have a navigation hold, and at the moment I've selected just to hold this altitude of 2,800. We're not going very high on this route, nor are we going particularly long distance. So the aircraft now is following the magenta line. I could set it so that it's a heading hold, and in which case then I can change with this knob here where this green arrow is. That'll be the aircraft's heading. At the moment, like I say, the aircraft's doing all this for itself. But the big question, price. Now this aircraft, I believe, is over £40. It is expensive. Is it worth £40? I think it is. I think it's certainly up there with the advanced aircraft of which we get in a flight simulator. And I think it is worth all the pennies in the world, whatever it is you pay in your country. I think this aircraft is definitely up there. If you like general aviation aircraft, you like something a bit faster, you like something a little bit different, have a look at this particular aircraft. So currently we are going to fly straight over Humberside, and we will obviously swing round and start our descent in, like I say, into runway 20. So let's hold this in. In fact, we're just going over Humberside right now. So we're going to fly out towards the Humber, and we'll then make our approach. In fact, I'm going to start doing that now. So let's turn autopilot is off. I just caught the flat button, don't need to do that. So we'll set the aircraft up for landing. So our landing lights are coming on. It's not going to be the best landing in the world, it's certainly not the best approach, but it'll do. We've got throttling back so we can start putting our flaps out. Just beneath 180, we need to be below 174 for approach and 140 for flaps down. So we're below approach flaps. Selected. And we got approach. So, last checks, we have lights are on, fuel pumps are on, P2 is still running. So looking for the dotted line on the 750. Gear going down. 3 green, gear locked. Airfield's inside. Slipping onto the runway heading. So we want to keep our speed above 100 knots, I want to say, around the 120. Touchdown needs to be 85 plus. So do our checks again, our last checks. Fuel pumps are selected. Landing lights are selected. Flaps are down to approach, coming down to landing. Flaps are selected down. Radar warning has gone on for altitude. We're at 200 feet. Bottling back. Nose going up. And touchdown. Stall warning just going off just before we touch down, which is what we wanted. So welcome to sunny Humberside Airport. Well, we will need to backtrack. So, what can we say about this aircraft? It's absolutely fantastic. I do love this aircraft. I was keeping an eye on the development of this aircraft because it's been general aviation, obviously. And I got it, not on release day, but I did get it. All of them, I got them all. And I just didn't fly it. It was in the collection, it was in the simulator, it was in my virtual hangar, and I just didn't fly it. It's a fantastic aircraft. It is pricey. you know, £44, I think £44.99 from Just Flight now. It's on sale at Just Flight, which is where I get most of my aircraft from, to be honest. It is pricey, but, and here is the thing, is it worth the money? And I think it is. You know, the fact that you can have the choice of piston powered and turboprop, the fact that you've got some very good repaints, and plenty of repaints are starting to pop up on the usual places. I think it is a very worthwhile aircraft. It sounds great. It sounds absolutely fantastic. Everything is functioning. All the buttons click, sync, and all the rest of it. They make the funny noises. And that's what I've always said, sounds are very important to me in aircraft, in Flight Simulator, and this one gets it right. If you're probably new to general aviation aircraft in the Flight Simulator, it's probably not really, or, you know, one of those aircraft that you can jump into. You do need to learn certain functionality. You also need to learn to use a... is this a taxiway or a roadway? I can never work it out. Look, there's no other traffic nearby. Like I said, it is a brilliant aircraft. Advanced, many options, very much worth the money. So we're going to park up just here, I think. So, parking brake is set. Flaps are retracting. Just checking everything. Pitot heat is now selected off. Nav lights are set off. Didn't want that on in the first place. Landing lights should be off. Generators are off. Inverter is set to off. Master switch is set to off. Flight Simulator always does that with me. All lights are off. So, like I say, is this aircraft worth the money? Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt, it is really worth the money. Will it feature in more content? Yes. I will be happy to feature this aircraft in further content, further flights. Obviously, flight testing the turboprop version. I'm going to have to get over the fact I don't like turboprop sounds. But yeah, if you're into twin engine aviation, this is fantastic. It's a lovely aircraft. It's also quite unique. It ain't a Cessna. It ain't a Diamond. You know, it is a Duke. And the Duke is royalty, and I'm glad that Black Square Simulations were able to bring us, the consumers, the Duke series. So, what can I say? It's fantastic. If you've got any questions or comments about this particular aircraft, please bang them below. As always, I will get round to responding to all your comments as I get them. And I will see you, guys and girls, in future Microsoft Flight Simulator content very, very soon.